He signed the lease at noon. The flat was cheap, almost suspiciously so. The keys felt cold and unfamiliar, their metallic edges sharp against his skin. He liked the street. It was quiet, lined with old trees that shed their leaves in a slow, silent dance. The building looked old but sturdy, a brick facade that had seen a century of rain and sun. He carried his boxes up 3 flights of worn stairs. Each step groaned under his weight. The flat smelled faintly of dust and old lemons. A clean but forgotten scent. The floorboards creaked when he walked, a symphony of small complaints. He liked the creaks. They felt alive, like the building was settling in around him. The owner was a small, thin man in a threadbare coat. He smiled, but only with his mouth. His eyes remained flat and distant. Instead, he pointed at a small black dot embedded in the wall above the bedroom door. It was no bigger than a shirt button, perfectly round and matte black, seeming to absorb the light. A chill, not of temperature, prickled his arms. "It records. For your safety only." The words hung in the air, simple and heavy with unspoken meaning. He just wanted the keys. He just wanted a place to sleep. That night, he looked up at the dot. A tiny green light blinked, a mechanical heartbeat. A tiny lens stared back like an unblinking pupil. He tried to ignore it, setting the bed, the lamp, the laptop. He told himself it was a dummy. He told himself the owner had lied to make him feel safe. But the feeling of being watched was a weight in the room. He repeated the words he needed until he drifted into a restless sleep. On the second day, curiosity gnawed at him. He found the footage on a small unlabeled drive the owner had left. He plugged it in. It began at the precise hour he moved in. Black numbers in the corner. His life from the previous day played out like a strange, silent film. He watched himself drop a mug. The screen's silent shatter matched his remembered gasp. He watched himself lie down, his eyelids close, the final surrender. He paused, rewound. Something was wrong, just out of reach. Each time he slept, his face was turned. A precise, repeated gesture. Even in dream, the same angle. It was a pose, not a posture. He felt a cold dread bloom. From the far corner just outside the frame, as if someone had called his name. The feeling followed him out of the flat and into the gloomy hallways. He needed fresh air. He needed another voice. The neighbours spoke in clipped answers, eyes darting. They said the flat had a history, a reputation like the smell of damp. An old woman placed a cool, wrinkled hand on his arm. "They vanished overnight," she whispered, left the oven on. A full cup of tea still steaming, nothing else out of place. But the police said the camera kept rolling, recording an empty room for days. Her words landed like stones in his stomach. He felt a deep, penetrating cold. Back in the flat, the small black dot looked darker. He flipped every switch. The lights went out. The green dot remained. He ripped wires. Sparks flew. Shame rushed over him and turned to anger. Anger at the hollow-eyed owner. He wanted answers. He wanted to tear them from the walls. He took the power drill from a half-unpacked box. It felt heavy and purposeful. He pressed the bit to the plaster and pulled the trigger. The drill screamed. It chewed the wall, spitting dust and paint, small grey snow. Then it hit something hard. He peered into the hole and found a second lens behind the first. Smaller, darker, an eye inside an eye. He widened the hole and reached in. His fingers met cold air, colder than a wall should hold. In the mirror, a tangle of wiring, thick red and black bundles, another plaster surface parallel to his own. A faint outline, the shape of a small room within the wall. The inner panel gave way. His torch touched a tiny, perfectly constructed room, a dollhouse replica of his own. The same rumpled blue sheets, the same cheap lamp, the same folding table with a single ceramic mug. Embedded in its plaster, another lens watching his camera. Behind that lens, in the shadow, a shape resolved. A person sitting on the edge of the tiny bed. Its head turned toward the hole. It watched the watcher. He stumbled back onto his knees. He could not breathe. He scrambled away, then stared at the raw, gaping hole in his wall. He should call someone, the police, the landlord, anyone, but shame and violation kept him silent. He taped cardboard over the wound and told no one. He felt like a thief who had seen something forbidden. That night, the files showed a man standing in his doorway, wearing his clothes, moving with his hesitation. He did not remember standing there. He tried to sleep. He failed completely. The blink became a maddening metronome. On the second night after his discovery, a new file appeared. The camera had moved, as if unmounted, to the corner chair. The laws of mechanics warped in his small flat. He unplugged the laptop in panic. He took the drive to the rusty bin and smashed it to twisted metal. On his way back, his phone buzzed. A single file. The sender's name, an empty bar of light. The file was small. His hands shook as he opened it. He knew he shouldn't. His bed, the same impossible angle. He watched himself asleep, face tilting in that same strange way. Then the camera panned, gliding toward the wall he had broken. It moved through the wall, into the miniature copy. A figure sat with its back to a second hidden lens. It turned. Its face was like his, but it was not him, a pale, empty-faced replica. It stared into a camera. It watched him watch. He felt a hand of ice pass through his heart. He wanted to scream, to run, to smash the building brick by brick, but his feet stayed planted. He sat on the floor and watched his phone. The copy raised a pale hand, a slow wave, a finger to lips. Then it pointed straight at him. The subtitle glitched. For a second, the numbers read one word. Welcome. The air turned frigid. He looked from the laptop to his own empty bed. Pillows still, sheets undisturbed. When the sun was up, he left the flat. A small bag, his wallet, his phone. He left the laptop open on the table, the door unlocked, the stairs creaking like a farewell. He walked into anonymous streets, rented a sterile room for twice the price, paid in cash. The owner answered on the third ring. He denied the cameras, called the building quirky, drafts, noises, said the flat had been empty for years, said the man must rest. The old woman told the same story. The neighbours pretended not to see him. He felt the building, the whole block, folding around him like a mouth, its silence a conspiracy. 2 weeks later, a new person signed the lease to his old flat. A young woman, this time. The owner met her at the door, smiled that thin, empty smile, and pointed at the small black dot. "It records," he said, "for your safety only." Behind fresh plaster, covering a hastily repaired hole, a small lens watched. Behind that lens, another lens waited. In the miniature room, a figure sat on a tiny bed, watching a figure on a screen. An old business, a quiet industry of observation, a small, endless cycle. Miles away, the man sat on a park bench. He did not turn his face toward the old flat. Yet he felt a slight, involuntary turn, as if someone in a small, quiet room smiled. The camera blinked red, an error, a reset, then settled to unwavering green. A new file began to roll.